The Duke of Sussex has finished giving evidence in a privacy case against the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. Concluding the session, Prince Harry became visibly emotional, accusing Associated Newspapers Limited of making his wife's life what he described an absolute misery.
Prince Harry's recent courtroom testimony has sent shockwaves through the royal landscape, revealing a man not just defending his wife but struggling under intense scrutiny and pressure. His emotional claims describe Meghan Markle's life being turned upside down by relentless media attacks. But are his words driven by hard facts, deep frustration, or something more complex? As millions watch closely, this legal battle raises bigger questions. Is it truly about justice, or does it expose a growing sense of isolation and bitterness that's reshaping how the world sees the Duke of Sussex? Harry's courtroom demeanor. Prince Harry's behavior in court has been strikingly emotional and at times unorthodox. Instead of simply answering questions, he frequently engaged in arguments with the opposing counsel, a move that surprised many legal observers and the presiding judge alike. His attempts to make points beyond the scope of his testimony often undermined the perceived professionalism of his witness stand performance. His lawyer's apparent inability or unwillingness to guide him toward a more concise and strategic testimony further complicated matters. This was not Harry's first courtroom encounter of this nature, yet this time, the missteps seemed more glaring. The repeated interruptions and attempts at confrontation distracted from the core issues and provoked frustration from the judge, who gently reminded Harry of courtroom protocol. Such behavior also raised questions about Harry's emotional state as he navigates this highly public and draining legal contest. Perhaps the most controversial moment in court was Harry's claim that Meghan Markle had been living in absolute misery due to media treatment. In his own words, he told the court, "They have made my wife's life an absolute misery, my lord." This strong assertion clashed sharply with publicly available statements from Meghan herself, who, at a recent event in New York, described herself as happier than ever. These courtroom dynamics set the stage for a deeper investigation into the very claim Harry is fighting to prove, that Meghan's life has indeed been made miserable by the press. The core claim of Meghan's misery. At the heart of the dispute is Harry's passionate statement that relentless media scrutiny turned Meghan's life into misery. He portrayed the establishment and press as forces actively working against the couple, contributing to a toxic environment that has deeply affected their well-being. In his witness statement, he wrote that once his relationship with Meghan became public, he was increasingly troubled by the approach of not taking action against the press in the wake of vicious, persistent attacks on, harassment of, and intrusive, sometimes racist articles concerning Meghan. This claim resonates with many who sympathize with the couple's struggles against invasive headlines and paparazzi attention. Yet, the complexity emerges when contrasting this with Meghan's own words from outside the courtroom. In April 2025, during a public appearance, Meghan described experiencing profound happiness and gratitude, statements that challenge Harry's assertion and introduce a paradox. This discrepancy raises difficult questions about the nature of truth in legal battles entangled with public image and personal feelings. Neither side can be easily dismissed, but the tension between Harry's courtroom testimony and Meghan's public positivity intensifies the scrutiny on their narrative. This tension also brings into focus what's at stake beyond mere words: the substantial risks Harry faces if this case does not end in their favor. The legal stakes and financial risks. Prince Harry is facing more than emotional challenges. The financial stakes of this lawsuit are immense. Reports suggest potential liability could reach as high as £39 million, a staggering sum that may seriously affect his finances in future. This enormous risk adds intense pressure to the case, fueling Harry's urgent need for vindication or a formal apology. The cost reflects the difficulty of taking on powerful media institutions like the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. Such battles are long and exhausting, draining both financial and emotional resources. The possibility of losing the case while facing a massive penalty appears to weigh heavily on Harry, contributing to the frustration visible in court. Beyond financial loss, reputational damage, and strain on personal relationships further compound the burden.
He said that throughout this process of litigation, it made his life worse, not better, and he called for an apology for himself and the 6 other very high-profile litigants, saying that it was awful that he was made to experience and go through all of this once again.
Despite the risks, Harry remains determined. Some see his persistence as brave, while others view it as stubborn or self-destructive. This legal fight has become a defining moment, testing how much he is willing to sacrifice for a cause he believes is right. With stakes this high, it remains uncertain whether the outcome will bring resolution or deepen existing divisions. Amid these mounting pressures, the shadows of past conflicts and long-standing grievances also loom large, influencing the emotional landscape in which this case unfolds. Past conflicts and personal baggage. Behind the courtroom drama lies a history of personal struggles and unresolved grievances that continue to shape Prince Harry's emotional state. His fixation on old wounds, such as long-standing issues with former girlfriend Chelsea Davy, reveals a man who holds on to painful memories with unusual intensity. Despite Chelsea having moved on, marrying and starting a family, Harry's bitterness surfaces in court and interviews, suggesting these past troubles still weigh heavily on him and may cloud his judgment during the legal battle. These conflicts point to a broader pattern of emotional turmoil. His biographer, Angela Levin, notes that Harry struggles to let go of grievances that no longer relate directly to his present life, but clearly influence his mindset. His attempts to draw Chelsea into legal discussions from which she has distanced herself hint at lingering unhappiness and instability, possibly explaining why he often appears vengeful and bitter. Harry's self-image as a leader or protector further adds to the pressure. He presents himself as someone who looks after close allies like Elton John and Liz Hurley, but this role is sometimes viewed as overreaching. These personal entanglements inevitably ripple outward, affecting Harry's connections with others and shaping how the public perceives him today. Impact on relationships and reputation. The intensity of this courtroom fight and Harry's public statements have had clear effects on his relationships with family, friends, and the wider public. His repeated critiques of the royal institution, combined with legal action against powerful newspapers, have strained ties with the monarchy and raised questions about loyalty and trust. This ongoing tension shapes how he is viewed both inside royal circles and by the public, where reactions range from sympathy to skepticism. Harry's words and actions suggest a man torn between wanting reconciliation and expressing deep frustration. Friendships also appear to be affected. Harry's tendency to position himself as a leader or caretaker within his circle may create unrealistic expectations and friction. His biographer notes that this sense of responsibility is not always welcomed, which could further isolate him. Media coverage frequently highlights moments where these relationships are tested, showing that the fallout extends beyond the courtroom. At the center is Harry's complicated reputation, a mix of vulnerability, defiance, and controversy. The lawsuit meant to protect Meghan paradoxically exposes fractures in both his personal alliances and public image, shaping how he is perceived moving forward. Moving forward, this tangled web of personal conflict and public scrutiny raises difficult questions about what the future holds for Harry and Meghan as they face uncertain terrain ahead. The uncertain future. As this heated legal battle continues, the future for Harry and Meghan remains deeply uncertain.
I feel like it's hard to sort of show your whole self.
I waffle with some of my choices before I make them. I'm generally very decisive, but social media is a great barometer for this for me because putting out a video of myself 9 months pregnant was a really big choice.
A loss in court could have severe financial implications, potentially costing Harry millions of pounds, along with lasting damage to their public standing and personal relationship. The pressure of public scrutiny and internal conflicts may force them into more drastic changes in how they engage with the media and the royal family. The stakes now extend far beyond a courtroom verdict, touching their lives, careers, and identities. If the case concludes unfavorably, Harry may feel compelled to escalate the fight rather than seek a resolution. Some view his persistence as deep loyalty to Meghan, while others see a path filled with risk and potential isolation. The ripple effects could impact not only finances but also access to institutional support and future opportunities. Meanwhile, Meghan's public ventures face setbacks. Reports indicate that Netflix will not renew her lifestyle series with Love, Meghan for a third season after it struggled to attract strong viewership.
And then as we started to get into our producing, through our deal with Netflix, really creating projects that we felt were compelling, and then I said, okay, I've always loved being able to share. I've always loved being able to cook and entertain.
While critics call it bland and stale, and insiders cite dismal ratings, these factors portray a couple navigating turbulent waters where every decision is scrutinized and consequences remain unpredictable. Their ability to adapt may define the next chapter of their story. Prince Harry's courtroom journey reveals a complex battle between personal pain and public scrutiny, with much still unresolved. The stakes are high, both emotionally and financially, as the Duke fights not just for Meghan's reputation, but for their future together. If you found this insight helpful, please like and subscribe for more updates on this evolving story and other royal news.